Welcome back to the Intercourse Show. I'm your host, Mr. B. We are talking relationship. In this segment, our relationship guru, Kevin Samuels, talks about ungrateful women. I haven't seen this clip before, so we'll react to it accordingly as it plays. Let's jump right into it.
Parents are married. They have been for the last 20 years. My grandparents on my dad's side are married. My grandparents on my mom's side, they're not.
Okay.
But I feel like what made me angry that I'm working through is my example of men. Because when I hear my mom talk about my grandfather, who I didn't get to experience, it's not what I see in my dad. So I was angry with him for a little while. And then I got over that. Well, I'm working through that, should I say, not got over it. But when I listen to your show, and even tonight, I hear what you're saying in regards to, women should focus on like their fitness and being feminine and cooperative and all of those things. But it still seems like we're still at a disposition. Like I still have to work against that narrative.
Okay. Ma'am, you threw a lot at me at one time. You brought your grandparents, your mother and father.
Everybody. I wanted to give you background.
How old are you?
26.
All right. Did you have braids?
Say that one more time.
Okay. 26. I'm trying to remember. Okay. You got to work at what is frustrating you that you have to work against what?
I feel like I have to work against the narrative that is set for Black women that we are just angry and loud and upset and pretty much everything that you kind of talk about in your show.
All right. So the narrative, is it a narrative or does it play itself? What? Okay. Well, there's part of narrative, but then you have to ask yourself your lived reality. I took that little straw poll. Are Black women happy? Are the majority of Black women happy or angry today? What's your opinion?
I would say the majority are unhappy.
Why? Why would you say
lack of better words, the circumstances that we put ourselves in?
Right. Okay. But so it's not a narrative if it's the majority is true, man.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that, but my confusion is, or not even confusion, where the disconnect for me is someone like myself, where I am working to improve different areas that I see are weaknesses that are my own and that I've learned through the behavior of the women in my life and watching their marriages.
Okay.
But that's what I mean by
where's
I
your
still
boyfriend?
feel like.
So where's your boyfriend or husband?
I actually just broke up with him, my boyfriend.
How long were you guys together?
We were together for about 5 months, 5.5.
Okay. And who broke it off?
I did.
Why?
I wasn't happy.
So,
but it was with myself. It wasn't
let
him.
me just go ahead. Let me go ahead and just level set. You said you're 26?
Yes.
Let me just go ahead and level set you, man. I have to work 3 times as hard to get half the credit. And guess what? That's just my lot in life. There's always going to be prejudice and discrimination and unfair treatment to any human being.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference is you either going to work to overcome it or you're going to let it overcome you. That's it.
And it won't be the latter.
Well, but the thing is, if you say see, the thing is, you shouldn't be angry about it's not fair nor it's so angry. Well, what are you going to do about it though? Because here's another thing. Black women are under whose burden? Whose burden are you under? Because it can't be Black men.
No, it feels like what I see. And what I see is like my parents' relationship, so my mom or my grandparents.
No. Okay, your mom's relationship and your grandparents' relationship are their relationship. You're a grown woman. It's time for your own experiences.
I agree. I do.
So when you tell me that you were mad at your father because he's not your grandfather, the first thing I'm saying is the nerve of you. So first thing I'm saying is the nerve of you. Should your father have been unhappy with you because you ain't your sister?
Mm.
But see, you have no problem. Women, black women in general, have never had a problem judging black men, even the ones that you should not judge. He's your father.
I don't feel like I'm taking the approach of being like judgmental, like you're wrong. I'm not saying that, but I am observing what I grew up around, my environment. And I'm not saying that my dad did
Were your mother and father
I'm not taking any.
Okay, but hold on. Were your mother and father married?
Yeah, they're married. They're still married to this day.
Right. And did you graduate high school?
I'm sorry?
Did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Did you go to college?
I did.
Did you graduate from college?
I did.
So your father raised a college graduate?
He did.
What the French toast are you talking about? That's better than most of the country. Sounds like and he's still married to your mother. Sounds like he did a hell of a job to me.
That's why I also said I'm not taking anything from him.
But you said you were mad at him. You said no. You said you were mad. Earlier you said that there was a time where you were upset and mad or angry, and the nerve of you to look a gift horse in the mouth. You got what 8 out of 10 black people don't have: a father in the household. But as usual, black men still ain't good enough. So you make an issue where ain't no goddamn issue. Judging your father because he wasn't your grandfather when you got more than what most kids in their neighborhood had: a dad that was apparently good enough to stay married to your mama, raise a high school and a college graduate. Wow. And black men hear this shit. Black men hear this and they're like, well, what the fuck else are we supposed to do? Being married to a black woman and raising those and providing a lifestyle to where you graduated from high school and college and didn't end up on drugs or on the street in the penitentiary, whole house, babies all over the world. What the fuck else is the black man supposed to do? A white man can just go to work in the plant and that's good enough. A black man got to go build the goddamn plant and his kids still ain't happy. I'm not laughing. I am not fucking laughing.
I am, because I'm not angry in that way.
But I am. Black men are, because I listened to what you said. You were angry with your father for what reason? Because he wasn't another man? You don't know your grandfather. You weren't raised there. So all you had was stories that your mama told you. So you take the stories that your mama told you versus what your daddy was doing and got the nerve to get mad at your dad. Well, how did he feel because he couldn't be the man you thought your grandfather was? Did you ever ask him how he felt about that?
We did, yeah. We have had quite a few conversations.
And how did he feel that his dad? Of course.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just because of the comparison to my grandfather, and the comparisons came from what I felt like my mom did receive, that I was fighting for my dad, which was his attention. I feel like he was able to be more present with my brothers at the time than he was with me growing up, which was a part of our conversation that you're asking about. And from his standpoint, he gave me
how did your mother balance out these things?
My mom gave me a lot of the things that I feel like I'm working through now. Like I'm not trying to put it all on my dad. That's why I said like the women, because I noticed how she also treated and behaved with my dad. And
what you did not mention is that you were upset and angry with your mother.
We just didn't get to that part.
You didn't lead with it. I had to pull it from you. This is the second time I've...
No,
okay.
I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't trying to withhold it.
Okay.
It
all
was
right.
just
Here's
a part
thing.
of where my mind was.
All right. And here's another thing. All right. Granted. But here's the thing. First world problems. You sound really entitled, man. You had a mother and father who were still married. Did they provide for? Apparently, they provided for all your needs, and you worried about your wants. I didn't get what my brothers got. Oh my God! The selfish.
But I don't think that that's wrong for a little girl to want that love from her dad.
Yes, it is. No, it's not wrong to want. It's not wrong to want love, but it's all. But this is why I say it's first world problems. this Disneyfication, to where the man did the best he freaking could, and it still wasn't good enough because the years his daughter should have been praising and loving her father, you were angry with him because he didn't give you what you felt you deserved or should have got, or what your mama got. Oh my God. When you have children,
I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question you asked.
I hope when you have children, you don't have to experience that level of hurt as a parent with an ungrateful child. This is what happens when we get to the point to where we and some of you ladies don't seem to realize that this is how so many men feel defeat. They don't even want to try. Let me go ahead and say this. This is why many men don't even want to try to do relationships or get married anymore. Because they hear this, that this woman came from an intact grandparent, nuclear family, lived a life, presumably middle class. Parents are still married. But because she didn't get the kind of love that she felt she needed or deserved or wanted, and men are saying, that's what I got to look forward to get out and go work my ass to death, to provide, to stay on the straight and narrow, to be faithful, to end up with that, to have a.
So there you have it, folks. That was Kevin Samuels as he reacted to this young lady who seemed like she was airing out some grievances that she had with her parents. It seemed like she came off saying that she was disappointed, maybe that her father didn't do enough. She was comparing her father to her grandfather, which I believe is her mother's father. And she was saying he was far less of a man than her mother's father. Now, biblically, the Bible tells us not to compare one another, because when we compare, we belittle. Someone else's life is not the same as this person's life over here. And God doesn't want us to get into that place where we're comparing people's lives to determine who was better than another person. And I think Kevin Samuels is right to be upset, which he was, visibly upset, because I think maybe this particular criticism hit home. It's hard enough to get in a relationship, to be married, but the fact that her parents at least stayed married and have attempted to work together to a point where she was able to get a decent life. She got to graduate high school, she got to go to college, and she was supported by both of her parents. Now, her parents are not perfect, and I'm sure they made their mistakes. I'm not trying to invalidate her feelings, but there is a point here to be made about honor. And the way that she spoke about her father indicates that maybe she didn't honor him as she should. And I think that's the part that troubled Kevin Samuels, as a guy who was a father of a daughter. And as a father myself, I can understand the sacrifices and the efforts that men make for their families. And it sometimes is a thankless job. Men are often seen as utilities and almost as beings without feelings. And women oftentimes don't understand the pressure that men have to go through just to show up every day, just to put on a smile, or just to get things done. And this is not to, ask for sympathy, but it is to ask for consideration. No one is perfect in the world, certainly not men. And in this case, it felt like Kevin wanted to stand up for her father, who didn't have a voice. He didn't have a way to express himself. He didn't have a way to tell his side of the story. He was just the guy who was being bad-mouthed by his own daughter on a live show with thousands of people watching. And I think Kevin Samuels took issue with the fact that this guy could not defend himself against the allegations. And her assessment of her father was only going to paint a negative image yet again on the black man, which further builds on the distrust that most of our women have with our men, which is represented in the low marriage rates, represented in the broken households, represented in the divorce rates, represented in the child custody cases, and just represented all across the board. It represents dysfunction. And I think blaming, shaming, and not actually appreciating your own father that's stuck in there for your own well-being, I think is the wrong way to show honor and love to your black father. So that's why he took issue with it. Now, obviously, I think, his tone may have come across a bit harsh, but I think as a guy who does a dating show, who did a dating show for years online, where a lot of black women will call and complain about black men and how they're not good and they're the bottom of the totem pole, and just kind of really, took a dookie on her own father, it seems. I think he's justified in being frustrated by what he was hearing. So that being said, my feedback to those who may have some grievances with their parents, and a lot of us do, it's always better to show honor to your parents, even if they weren't perfect, especially in public. And, the Bible says to honor your parents. And this isn't something that I think made black men look good. And, for those few who are still out there trying to do right by their children, it may be discouraging to hear, a child who has gotten a parent to stay through the relationship with their mom and stay in a relationship and still hear this disdain in her voice about her own family member, her own father. And I think that's where you see a lot of distrust, because some of our women don't have good relationships with their fathers. In part, it's due to the father's dynamic with their mother, or whatever the mother maybe have put into the child's head that's framed her view of him as being a lesser. And now when she's old enough to have relationships of her own, she approaches it from a place of distrust for her own men, because what was modeled for her by her father may not have been what she was proud of. So you see stuff like this. Again, it's an unfortunate situation. We're trying to be constructive on the show. And I think sometimes we do need to show honor to both sides. Men need to show honor to their mothers, and women definitely need to show honor to their fathers, so that there can be some respect shown. Now, it takes a level of discipline that we may not have in our own. So I definitely recommend that people really, especially if you have some real sketchy things in your path and some hardships with your a parent, really get with God, get on your knees, talk to God, and ask Him to help you forgive and let go those things. Sometimes you need supernatural assistance to get past some hurts, especially those in your past. So seek God and remain prayerful, and He'll help you through it. That's it for me, guys, in this particular segment. For those who are not already connected to the show, get connected, like and subscribe, stay connected to the show, the Intercourse Show. We welcome your voice. We ask that you give your feedback and that you leave your comments, because your comments could be enlightening and helpful to someone observing the show, someone who you may have come across this particular episode. So definitely share your point of view, and let's continue to be constructive. All right, guys, thanks again for joining us. And you have a blessed and productive night until we speak again. God bless.